Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
You're listening to Radio Lewes, where the music matters, and welcome to another reissue of the King Mob Show. Yes, I'm afraid he's going to be away an extra week, so he's picked another show to reissue, and it's Getting Slick in the Shadows. Get ready for some shady goings on, and enjoy the show. Over to King Mob.
Hi, I'm King Mob, and you're someone else in a completely different location. This week, I'm going to get slick in the shadows, so my advice, if it's nighttime where you are, open those curtains wide and let the moon in. If it's during the day, well, just roll down the blinds and you'll see shadows start to appear. And hey, that's a little shadow music down there. Who's doing that? Looking closer. That's Dan Norgren. He's Danish. Yeah, well. Listen, Dan, if you don't mind a bit of advice from a senior professional, there's more than one chord. He does it very well, so you can't really complain. But now we're here, in the shadows. It's kind of liquid and whispery. And here's Jackie Wilson. Yeah, well, that's Jackie Wilson. He's the voice of the shadows, all right. And now that we've been here a while, and by the way, here in the studio, I got all the lights off. There's just these winking little lights off the machinery, so it's dapperly, and I can kind of see things in there. What's that over there? Ooh, that's a kind of... Good heavens, it's a Victrola, the original vinyl device from 1923, made by the Sears Roebuck Company. What a beautiful item it is in shadow mahogany. Oh, there's some old 78 RPM records here as well. I don't believe it. Here is one of the original 6 recordings released with the original record player. It's Henry Hall. Here comes the Boogeyman.
Children, have you ever met the Boogeyman before? No, of course you haven't, for you're much too good, I'm sure. Don't you be afraid of him if he should visit you. He's a great big coward, so I'll tell you what to do. Hush, 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 here comes the Boogeyman. Don't let him come too close to you, he'll catch you if he can. Just pretend that you're a crocodile, and you will find that Boogeyman will run away a mile. Say shoo shoo and stick him with a pin. Boogeyman will very nearly jump out of his skin. Say buzz buzz, just like the wasp that stings. Boogeyman will think you are an elephant with wings. Hush, 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 here comes the Boogeyman. Tell him you've got soldiers in your bed, for he will never guess that they are only made of lead. Hush, hush, he'll think that you're asleep. If you make a lovely snore, away he'll softly creep. Sing this tune, you children one and all. Bogeyman will run away, he'll think it's Henry Hall. When the shadows of the evening creep across the sky, and your mommy comes upstairs to sing a lullaby, tell her that the bogeyman no longer frightens you. Uncle Henry's very kindly told you what to do. Hush, 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 here comes the bogeyman. Don't let him come too close to you, he'll catch you if he can. Just pretend your teddy bear's a dog, then shout out, fetch him, Teddy, and he'll hop off like a frog. Say meow, pretend that you're a cat. He'll think you may scratch and that will make him fall down flat. Just pretend he isn't really there. You will find that bogeyman will finish in thin air. Here's one way to catch him without fail. Just keep a little salt with you.
There we are. That's the bogeyman. Absolutely marvellous. I know that's one of Lord Beza's favourites, and I've always liked it since I was a child. And here's another vinyl disc made out of shadows, and this is, it's a recording of the old Shadow radio show, which starred Orson Welles. And these radio shows from the 1930s. The Shadow, the character was a prototype for the Batman, but also mixed up with a bit of the origin of Doctor Strange. He went to Tibet and learnt the power to cloud men's minds. Note men's minds, not women's. Anyway, actually his powers did work on women as well. And he was able to change the shape of his face, the Shadow. Why am I explaining? Just listen to the radio show, you'll get everything.
What evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows. What evil lurks in the hearts of men? In a I get so mad. See the beatnik children cloud their mind. Lord, I'm so sad. I have to raise my head for my eyes.
and the cold wind blows. I know. Only the shadow knows.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
The shadow knows. Only the shadow knows. Shadow knows. Shadow knows. Shadow knows.
It's Chris Spedding going a bit mad at the end. And as you probably gathered, well, yeah, that was a Sharks track. Because like back in 74, when we cut our abandoned third album, that's an early sample, actually. I had bought the vinyl of the radio show Shadow Knows when we were in the US. And I brought it back and I said, I want to use this as the front for the track. And everybody said, no, you can't do that. And it's copyright. And I said, well, I don't care. I just want to do it. And they didn't even have a vinyl player, a deck in the studio. One had to be hired and brought in, and we did it. And I rather like it. Shadow, also, they made a movie about him sometime in the 90s. And it's a lot of fun. Alec Baldwin, Jonathan Winters, and best of all, scored by Jerry Goldsmith. That's the wrong one. That's not it. That was going to be Sharks again. Boy, did you get lucky. Here's Jerry Goldsmith. That is shadowy music, and I like that very much. It's called Poppy Fields. So I've gone all like spacey outy here in the Shadow Kingdom, and I've found a crystal ball, and I'm going to just wave my hands over it and see what happens. Ooh, there's a little message from the future, and it says, Steve, by now your regular listener will realise that you're doing a show about shadows and you're liable to play a track by the shadows. Yes, but I've already had a premonition dream about this happening now, and I knew that that message would come, so I did something different, and I asked my old pal, Jeff Beck, to do a song by the shadows. So this is Apache by Jeff Beck, and that's stuff for you crystal ball. Wow, Jeff, that was fantastic. Listen, do another one. How about Sleepwalk? Come on, Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. Money's in a brown paper bag as usual. Use notes. No worries. But I love Jeff Beck's guitar playing, but then everybody knows that I love Jeff Beck's guitar playing because I did a whole show on him a while back. And anyway, let's go strange now. I know it's already strange. We're in the dappled shadows and we're moving through this weird shadow world. And I found now a shadow book. And it's like from my childhood. And in my childhood, like books used to be like adventure stories, and quite often they were set in the Wild West, where for some reason in those old books, Red Indians were always the villains. They were like bloodthirsty savages, and they would be attacking wagon trains and kidnapping white settlers. Actually, mostly they were nice folks, and they would just sort of vaguely bemused to see all of these people from Europe moving all over America and settling down. It was all very confusing. And actually, I have spent some time with Native Americans, and they are really have a very dry sense of humor. And here's a story written by Hank Williams, and it's performed by the Residents, and it's called Koliga.
Just stands there as lonely as can be and wishes he was still an old pine tree. Elijah, that poor wooden head.
Ooh, another spooky one. I'm really quite enjoying this shadow, so it's kind of a bit, I'm feeling a bit odd. And down in the corner, not the same corner that Daniel Norgren's in. By the way, he's still sitting there playing that riff. You just can't hear him. Somewhere, Daniel Norgren in the shadows is still playing Howling Around My Happy Home. Now I'm doing shadow impressions. This is really excellent. Things are moving forward at a terrific rate. But anyway, this is the other corner, not the one where Daniel is. And here, there are shadow pools. And there's only one way to find out what's in a shadow pool. Got to dive in.
I was born. And not very much was said about it.
Well, wise words in that shadow pool from the real Tuesday World. Trust the Clerkenwell kids get in there with blood, sugar, and love. Anyway, here, as everywhere, even in the shadow world, everybody wants to be the DJ. And while that track was playing, I had a call from DJ Shadow, and he's moaned because I haven't played a DJ Shadow track. So I'm going to play one. This one's called Ghosts. Yeah, well, that was DJ Shadow. So now we're going to have somebody who doesn't think there's a shadow. This is Terry Reid, and he doesn't even believe that there actually is a shadow. But as listeners to last week's show will know, for Terry, there is indeed a shadow. Thanks, Terry. And here's another old friend of the show lurking in the shadows. And this is Shadow Morton. And I featured Shadow when we did a show on girl groups of the 60s. Because Shadow was kind of a maestro of the melodrama. And his group, the Shangri-Las, which he wrote and produced, they were like his girl puppets. And they made these lovely, weird, melodramatic records. And here's one I didn't play on that show. But it fits this theme very nicely. It's called Dressed in Black.
Dressed in black, he walks alone, a shadow in the night. Each time he walks by my window, can't hold the tears from my eyes. They said he was much too wild for me. They said I didn't know what I was getting myself into. They said a whole lot of things. But there are some things they could never understand. That a girl can tell by the way a boy holds her hand. Or maybe they thought we were too young to be in love this way. Well, I don't care what people say. This girl's love is getting stronger with each passing day. I climbed the stairs. I shut the door. I turned the lock. Alone once more. And no one can hear me cry. No one.
Well, it all got a bit, iffy towards the end, didn't it? And a man comes in black, and then he leaves. Then she wants to cry. I feel a bit upset about it all. It's all got a bit fractious, if you ask me. I think we need some fun. Let's have... I know how to make fun in the shadows. Actually, I know a couple of ways, but I'm only going to tell you about one of them. One of the ways to have fun in the shadows is to, move your fingers about and against the light, and so that you make, little patterns on the wall, and you can make things that dance. Well, that was George Benson back in the 60s when he was like a, swinging mofo type thing. I mean, he was happening back then. I always thought George Benson was just some kind of deadbeat type thing, but apparently not. Back in the day, George was cooking. I like that track. It's called Shadow Dancers, by the way, so see how it fits in with this Shadow theme, which is almost at an end. I mean, again, another hour almost gone by. And I just want to check, see if that Dan Norgren's got another chord to add to that. I mean, I love that track that he does, that Howling Round My Happy Home, but it's just one chord. Let's go over to the corner and see what's... Oh, God. He's still at it. Yeah. Anyway, stick with that thing, Dan. It's gonna work out for you one of these days, I guess. Soft exit there. Anyway, nicely themed with that. Here's the end of the show. And it's the Long Pigs with On and On and On and...
songs that I've sung, yeah, more often than you know, 'cause you're the love that I've come to, more often than I've let it show, and I wish you would leave me. And I wish you would go. And I wish you didn't need me. And I wish I didn't love you so. 'Cause I just can't go on. So please don't do me wrong. No, I won't do you wrong. My love for you goes on and on. There's no one else I want beside you. Give me your coldest shoulder to cry upon. You're never anywhere I find you. You're never anything I rely upon. And I wish you would leave me. And I wish you would go. And I wish you didn't need me. And I wish I didn't know. But I just can't go on. So please don't do me wrong. No, I won't do you harm. My love for you goes on and on and on and on. No, I just can't go on.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.